Welcome to Gary Vaynerchuk Inspired Video Battleathon Video 71. Today we're going to talk about how working smarter or looking for the best way to do things is just torture. An interesting thing that conversation I had with one of my younger cousins, you would call them the millennial generation, is that they grew up in a time where they had the internet and so much more information than we had. When I was growing up, we didn't have the internet. We had a dial-up internet, right? And it was all just pure hard work. Like my parents' generation, when they grew up, there wasn't really a work smarter mentality. It was just straight hard brute force work. They were the hardest workers, and personally I don't have that kind of drive in me to work that hard, right? And I believe I'm kind of in between my younger cousin who's 23, who's a millennial, where they've got tons of information, and my parents who have that straight hard work. I'm a good balance of working smarter and working harder. But getting back to the conversation is that he's a millennial and he's got really smart technological advanced ways of how to do things. The only thing that he lacks is what my parents have. And it's not that he didn't have the hard work and the hard drive, but because he's got so much information and access to information, he believes he's got the smartest way to do it. But what I found in what he was telling me on what he wanted to do was it lacked real world integration. Because he was talking about building social media. About how you just buy all these followers and do this whole technology and then cross-promote products, which makes sense. That's how money's made. But what he didn't realize is brand is built, these brands that are, cross-promoting, or these influencers in social media, their brand and power is based on their personal branding and their personal social power. And they just use technology to magnify that result. Right? Where, say, he said, there's no way, it'd be very extremely difficult, and he wouldn't do it to build it from 0 followers and build it from ground up. Where that's just the straight hard way to do it, of building it 1 follower at a time, building your personal brand. Personal brand is the hardest thing to build, right? If you don't have it already, it's so difficult to build, but it's the most valuable asset you have. This technology, social media, they are just tools to convey and magnify your social value and influence. So when I looked at my parents working really hard, or I would say that's the natural way to build your social value, or my cousin who's got brilliant ideas on how to do it with technology, they both are great critical ways to build things, social value, social media, but they are incomplete ways to build it because the hard work needs the technology so they don't, burn themselves out. But that technology, the use of technology needs that hard work to build the social value, the personal brand. And that's one interesting thing is I hear people talk about millennials, about how they're lazy and how they talk like they know it all. And I can see how it's misunderstood from the older generation, where they think these kids are lazy and they just want to do it the easier and quicker way, which actually they know how to do it, but they just lack the real world implication of what my parents' generation knows how to do, is putting in the hard work to build that personal brand. They think it's just we do it this way, which it literally is, but kind of how to build personal brand, it's a lot more difficult than just using technology to build it, right? And these younger people haven't been in the business world or in the social world to realize how relationships are built in business and how things are grown and nurtured and used for social or financial benefit or whatever it may be. So that was just an interesting insight in terms of just kind of looking at my parents' generation and my cousin's generation about how they were trying to work smarter without the theory of working harder. And here's my parents who work really hard but don't necessarily have the mindset of working smarter, right? And me stuck in between, not saying one's better than the other, but realizing that both parts of the millennial technology of evolution and the parents' hard work, me building the realtor business, I see how both parts are required in order to have maximum efficiency and effectiveness in building a business. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on the big generation gap of what I'm stuck in between, and seeing how those two combined together would be an unstoppable powerhouse. And I think it's just about really communicating and getting together and having that conversation of how do you use technology and hard work together combined. Because if you look at modern day world now, with the millennial generation, the expectation for the workload is greater than ever. Competitiveness is greater than ever. Now, with the new millennial generation, they're expected to do way more, and they have bigger goals than my parents' generation of when they were just kind of get a job, get married, have a family, pretty simple. Now you have kids and they're 15, 20-year-old wanting to change the world. I never even thought about that kind of stuff, right? Like in my parents' generation, I wonder who actually thinks about that stuff, where in the millennial generation, that's kind of the norm. Everyone wants to be a billionaire. They all want to do these big things because they've seen the information and have been inspired enough to actually think that big. They just lack the, I guess, real world implication or hard work, whatever you want to call it.